For our 360 views tonight, we go to our liberal, former Florida Democratic Party Chair, Mitch Caesar. And for a conservative viewpoint, former Nevada GOP Chairman, Amy Tarkanian. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, so Mitch, I have to ask you, is there a bias, do you feel like, against conservatives on social media?
No, because if there was a bias, Trump wouldn't have won election in 2016 by using a lot of these vehicles. He had spent a lot more money than Hillary Clinton had done, but that was a key part of his success and, frankly, a key part of his media outreach now. So I don't think so. What they are doing, which is correct, is they are not censoring, they are filtering, because there's so much hate speech. You just talked about the terrible shooting in Pittsburgh, the worst massacre of American Jews in history, and that was based on a lot of hate speech from what he has been saying. And the same happened with the gentleman with the bombs, sending all the letter bombs. So I think it's correct to edit out, if you will, but it's not censorship, hate speech.
Well, that's the thing, Amy. Some say censorship, the others say filter. Either way, do these private companies have the right to censor or filter users as they see fit?
Well, unfortunately, most of us probably don't read the fine print. And so if we would like to start something that's competitive with something like Facebook or Twitter, then maybe somebody else should come up with such as another platform for people to use. It is a fine line, though, between hate speech and free speech. You know, I can go on television shows. I'm sure Mitch can also vouch for this, and hopefully it doesn't happen to him. But it seems that when you go on a television show or on a radio station and you have basically an opinion that is differing from most folks, you actually end up with lots and lots of very vicious and vile comments in your feeds. So I don't know how they're actually filtering this speech, because I can come off of a show and end up with an entire feed filled with the most atrocious comments that you could ever imagine.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, Amy. I seem to miss that point when all of the liberal groups were up testifying in front of Congress saying that their voice had been censored or they'd been kicked off social media, and yet time and time again you're seeing conservatives, whether it's losing numbers on Twitter or their Facebook pages removed. That being said, if conservatives are so concerned about not having the voice on popular media sites, several have tried to be started, but they're just not getting the support necessarily that you would get from Facebook and Twitter. What role do you think these outside media groups and the money they pour into social media and buying ads plays in all of this?
Well, I think it plays a huge role. But once again, you know, we're not going to know really what the truth is unless we're the ones sitting behind the algorithms and the ones who are in charge of pushing all the magic buttons behind the scenes. Now, we do know for a fact that there are people on both sides that have been removed and both sides that have been censored. I can't say for a fact that Republicans have been pinpointed out more than Democrats or vice versa, but we do know what's happening.
Well, that's the thing, Mitch, and you pointed out in your opening statement talking about how Trump got elected because he used social media, didn't have to spend campaign dollars on it, and he uses it every day. At the same time, it's being demonized by Facebook and Twitter. Is this kind of unfair considering how much he's on it?
Well, I find it very ironic because the person who brought this problem up in an August 16th op-ed piece in a conservative Washington paper is Donald Trump's digital manager from 2016, who's now his campaign manager. They floated this idea, got no traction. It's a week before the election. He's trying to float it again. It's just a rehash of the same stuff. And you have to remember, when we talk about hate speech, the First Amendment is not limitless. Like yelling fire in a theater, if something's meant to incite, that's the key word, and you could tell by reading a lot of these statements, then that is hate speech. So there is a line. It's not an unlimited right.
Well, that's the thing, Mitch, and that's the one thing we have to talk about. Yes, you know, if you read all of social media, a lot of these times you can kind of guess that something bad was going to happen. This person was going to do something bad, that they're filled with hate. Why do you think we're not having a better, you know, if they're going to observe conservative sites, why don't you think law enforcement stepping in when they read a lot of these posts by these folks that kind of put some red flags up that they obviously might do something dangerous to harm others?
Well, the FBI and a lot of security agencies have done that for a number of years now in reference to terrorism, both domestic terrorism, which we've seen examples of that, unfortunately, in the last week or two in the United States, twice now in the last week or two. And they don't want to be as to domestic situations, purely domestic, I don't think they want to be the arbiter of what's correct or what's not. And I don't disagree with them. But it is the responsible duty of the platform provider, whether it's Google or Facebook or whatever, to step in. And they got criticism for not doing that enough in the 2016 election, frankly, because of a lot of the stuff Trump rolled out. Well, now they're trying to clean up their act, which I welcome, because we're already in a toxic environment, and people just keep dying either directly or indirectly, frankly, because of that.
Yes, and Amy, should ultimately these social platforms be held in some form of legal or financial responsibility when they let some of this hate continue on, and it's obvious that this person has an ideology that could potentially be harmful to a group?
Oh, absolutely. And I think we need to be real careful, though, because if you're going to be someone who, say, posts something about being pro-life versus pro-choice, maybe because you have a different opinion doesn't mean that one is going to be removed over the other. It's more of how they're talking about it and how they're talking about the other side, and if there's violence included and if there's vulgar language included. I believe that's where they need to draw the line.
Absolutely.
Not the actual subject.
Absolutely. Well, Amy, Mitch, thanks for joining us tonight. And this continued conversation will obviously continue all the way through 2020.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.